All right. Seems like Corpse has the slide. So yeah, welcome and good evening, everyone. It's nice to see our community here. And we prepared a very short slide deck. We expect that you've already read the community report that we dropped last week, but we're here to just share a few slides on what's been going on with the YGG community, and then we'll be taking questions from the community afterwards. Let's go ahead. Next slide, please. Okay, so some numbers for the end of Q1. So please remember this is as of end of March 31st this year. So from the community side, we have a total of 29,000 scholarships from YGG and all of its different sub-DAO. We have over 20,000 YGG badge holders, which is really great. And we've had our first three regional sub-DAOs that are formed. You're probably familiar with this YGGC, which covers all of Southeast Asia outside of Philippines, IndyGG, which is our YGG India sub-DAO, and OlaGG, which is our LATAM sub-DAO. Now, expect more sub-DAOs to come along as we go, and we want to cover the world with Play to Earn. We also had a lot of game partnerships. So as of March 31st, we've bought assets in 45 games that cost us 8.84 million. And at the end of March, this is valued at $57.6 million. We've also invested in 6 guild partnerships worth 2.6 million, which has grown to around 26 million at the end of March. And we've invested in several player and infrastructure partnerships. And these partnerships have also grown with a value of 4.73 million as of end of March. Next slide, please. Okay, so we want to talk about the sub-DAO network. So sub-DAOs are very important to the future of YGG because we are trying to localize the impact of YGG around the world. So as we said, we have 3 sub-DAOs, YGGC, that covers all of Southeast except for the Philippines. YGG Philippines or Pilipinas is under the main YGG banner. IndyGG, which is our partnership with a Polygon team, is covers all of India, and OlaGG is for all Spanish-speaking Latin America. So in total, all of these sub-DAOs in YGG have raised $51 million with 117 game partnerships and 11 active games. And we have almost 30,000 scholars total, with the bulk coming from YGG, but we have C and Ola and NG is just starting to grow. And you might have heard a lot of these different talks and Twitter spaces coming from the sub-DAOs. All of them have a separate community. They have a separate treasury, but they also borrow assets from YGG, which means that we let them access and possibly other assets as well. But YGGC, India, and Ola have the ability to decide what games to get into, which may be different from YGG itself. We want to have a very localized experience on how these games are being experienced, but all within kind of the YGG guild system and the community system that we built over at YGG. Next slide, please. Okay, for our game partners, Jeff, do you want to talk about this slide?
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, everybody from around the world. This is Jeff here. As you can see, we have a wonderful assortment of live games right now. I think what's very exciting is you look at the testing and launching soon and the new partners infographic here. We have some very, very exciting games that are expected to launch around the Q3, Q4 mark. As you can see by some of these different titles, I'm sure there's a lot of people here in the community that are familiar with these titles. We are looking to diversify a bit and find some of the best games for our community that everybody of all different genres can enjoy. Enjoy in different genres here. This is the strategy that we are going to continue on as we come forward into, approaching that kind of sweet spot of Q3, Q4 here. Continuing looking for the best games for you guys. So, one comment I did want to make is we are always looking for feedback from the community on our games. Please don't be shy. If you feel like there's any added value that you can provide to us that we can carry back to these founders and teams, please speak up in the community. It is very helpful. Those that are getting involved even in games that for partners that might not have been announced, or partners that we don't even know exist yet that you might have found a golden nugget for, please raise that awareness in the community so that, all of us on the asset acquisition team can pay attention to these games. One thing that we want to accelerate moving forward into Q3 and Q4 is support that we are providing to these games, whether that's token economics, game economies, game loops. We really want to up our game, no pun intended, working with these founders in these studios to really build out the best ecosystems that we possibly can for all of our players. So yes, your communication is key here, and very excited to see what your feedback is on all these launching. Feel free to go to the next slide.
Oh, hey guys. So my name is Mike and I run esports at YGG. And I just wanted to take some time to show to you the team that we've built in competitive Axie Infinity. The team name is YGG Elite, and it compromises of the best in the Axie Infinity competitive space coming out of the YGG community. Currently, we're sitting at 12 members, and we just got back from Las Vegas 2 weekends ago, where we were able to take the first, second, and fourth place. So Itachi won the championship. El Momo lost, so he got second place, and then Big Gabby was fourth. The competitive team has been growing, and I think it's in a really good spot right now. If there are people within the community that want to get involved in competitive Axie Infinity and want to represent YGG Elite, we do also have a Rising Star program. So the prerequisite for that is 2,500 or higher MMR at the end of the previous season or the current one. We're going to be moving heavily into Origin as well as V2 phases out, so definitely staying and really excited to see where we can, which direction we go there. Yeah, that's it.
Gabby, if you could just talk just briefly to the ODET relief response, it would be great to get a little update on that too, just before we dive straight into AMA.
Sure. So last December, the Typhoon Odette ravaged the Visayas and Mindanao portions of the Philippines, and the YGG Pilipinas teams stepped up quickly in the response to help the community. So we've had different efforts to help the community here, including working with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, getting different contributions from the community, and then channeling those into response efforts. So we raised a total of $1.5 million or 75 million pesos that we directly channeled into various relief responses, including World Food Program, World Vision, Armed Forces, the Aboitiz Foundation, and also our Crypto Ayuda program, which direct sending of 10,000 pesos to affected community members. So yeah, this was something that we published in a transparency report, which I encourage you to view. Overall, we wanted to show that we really care about our community in good times and in bad. And yeah, I hope that it really helped people who were victims of the typhoon.
Thanks so much, Gabby. Yeah, I think the ODET relief response was just an amazing example of how this community can really come together, for good and for bad. I think that was obviously an awful crisis, and a lot of people were going through some terrible things. It was amazing to see too how we had donations big and small, I think, as well. Some of the partners, they were donating very large amounts of money, but we had lots of community members too who were just putting in whatever they could. So amazing work to everybody here that was supporting that effort too. So we're going to go straight into AMA now. We've got a few questions that people sent through prior to the AMA, so we'll go through those, but as we go along, definitely post your questions here in the chat, and we'll be reading those out too. So we'll try to get through as many of them as we possibly can. I just want to kick off with a really simple one here that someone sent through, but I think it's a good reminder for anyone who might be new to the community. They were just saying, look, they're new. Oh, sorry. Do we have someone jumping in there? No, I think it might have just been feedback. Sorry. Yeah, just a quick one to be very upfront for new people in the community. This person was just asking that if they wanted to find information about YGG other than in the Discord channels, where else can they go? Sedano, do you want to take us through some of the channels that people can go to be able to find more content information about YGG, but perhaps just give us a bit of a heads up live streams that are on our radar as well?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, first of all, I'm sorry about my internet. It's holding on for dear life as well. But yeah, and to get back on track, so we have every Monday, we still have our Game Hunters, so it's one of our longest running programs, still standing strong, and it's been growing, a lot of progress there. And I don't know if some good alpha to share, but yeah, we are working on the Game Hunters as our first, community grant. And yeah, hopefully we get to build that out together with all the other shows happening within the YGG socials. So aside from that, every Tuesday we also have our Theater Arena Tuesdays, but we are kicking it off and spinning it off into the YGG Theater Arena tryout. So now we are looking at, together with Mike, of course, looking at extending program into Thetan Arena, and we are using our weekly stream every Tuesday as the platform to discover our newest talent, who later down the road will be representing YGG. And yeah, watch out for that. That's happening tomorrow at 11 p.m. Eastern time and 11 a.m. Philippine time. So, and every Wednesdays we have Cyball. So that is led by Kathy, who is one of our content creators from the Philippines, and we are going to be looking into Cyber Reborn. So this is one of our streams that acts as our boot camp and training for our newest scholars, but also a good way to educate at the same time and onboard other aspiring Cyball players as well. And every Thursdays we still have our Axie Infinity boot camps. So originally we've had them every Monday and Thursday, split between our V2 and Origin boot camps. And now we will be refocusing our efforts for Axie Infinity into every Thursday, and now it will be a back-to-back stream. So we will be having V2 and Origin happening on the same stream at the same time. So that will be 1 hour after the other. That's 9 p.m. So 9 to 10 will be V2, and then 10 to 11 will be Origin. So that's Philippine time as well. And every Fridays we have our AMAs, and Saturdays we have League of Kingdoms, led by the one and only Mei Zing. And every Sunday we have Splinterlands, led by Cydrake and Last Dragon. But do note that we have a lot of upcoming games. So a few of them is Splinterlands. We have Avigochi, we have Fancy Birds, and we have War Riders. So these are all the other shows that we are slowly going to be rolling out within the next few weeks. And this also comes in tie with our guild advancement program, where most of the content creator quests are our meet for discovering talent within the YGG community. So while everything, all these programs, all these shows are coming together, eventually, we want everything to, just come from the community at the same time with the YGG and YGG Filipinas content that we are pushing out in house. So this will become, part of a bigger media network, or just a bunch of shows that we will be putting together, to present as YGG as the next frontier for media and content in Web3. So there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, and we are very excited about discovering the talent within the community. That's why we are very pushy about you guys creating and basically taking the lead and creating content. And yeah, that's something to look forward to as well. So yeah, that's it for me.
That's awesome. Thanks, Sedano. So we've got a question from Gohorn here. He was just asking if there is a one-stop shop to see all the partnerships for each sub-DAO. And also a really good idea. He wanted to have the mods and community helpers able to reference that. We don't actually have anything like that at the moment, but I think that's a really good idea. So we'll look at creating something like that and then keep you updated. But I guess to flow on from that as well, we did have a question that came in prior to the AMA. So this person was just asking that they've been following the expansion of YGG into other regions, and via the announcements of some of the geographical sub-DAOs such as IndieGG, OlaGG, and YGGC. They were just asking, what is the philosophy of creating these sub-DAOs separate to the main YGG entity? And also, is it possible for, say, someone from YGG to be a member of multiple sub-DAOs? Gabby, did you want to take that one?
Yeah, so the philosophy here is that we want to have very localized communities that are really empowered with their own treasury, with their own decision making, but still with the support of YGG. Because a guild community itself is very local. Even if you look at YGG Pilipinas, we have over 30 sub guilds with our managers like Shanks, managers like Kuku, managers like Nate, and we want to extend that local feel to all of our sub DAOs. So think of the sub DAO as a partnership between YGG and our local partner, be it the YGGC guys or the Polygon guys, or the Ola founders. But we want them to feel really very kind of very local. And yes, of course, you can be members of different sub DAOs, and you're free to contribute not only to YGG but also to all of our different sub DAOs and make those communities better.
Awesome, thanks, Gabby. I have definitely minted my guild badge for multiple sub DAOs too. We've got a follow-on question from that for you again, Gabby. So expanding on the previous question, an audience member was asking about the Indie and C tokens. So they've got their own tokens to represent their own sub DAO. They were asking, how does this impact the YGG token, and what's the relationship between the YGG token, the tokens that are specific to those geographical sub DAOs?
Okay, so YGG owns a significant percentage of the network of all of its sub DAOs. So that means that if you own the YGG token, there's already exposure to the different sub DAOs. So YGG owns the different sub DAO tokens in its treasury. For the sub DAOs itself that will eventually have their own token, it's a way for you to get involved, governance, membership, decision making of each sub DAO itself. If you want to be really involved in the India governance, for example, in the India Guild, then you would want to have a piece of Indie GG or Indie tokens, and so on and so forth for C, for Ola, and others. But if you own a piece of YGG, then you through the YGG treasury, you also own a piece of all of these other tokens in our sub DAO, as well as the game assets and tokens that we are a part of.
Thanks, Gabby. We've actually got a question in here in the chat. So is YGG and any of the other sub DAOs open to onboarding games from other chains like Solana, Hedera, Algorand, as long as there's community support? Would you look at onboarding games like that? Maybe you could take that one, Jeff.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about the acquisition strategy when it comes to sub DAOs, one of the interesting thing here is, like, obviously YGG Core will still have exposure to some of these games, especially if there's a movement into a game by a sub DAO and not YGG Core. I think that's an important point to really digest here for the whole community, is that we do carry exposure to these regional sub DAOs, and I think it's very interesting that, considering we've spoken about genres and acquisition earlier in this chat, is that due to the certain areas and localized areas, particular games could be much more popular in a certain region versus the other. And so as we try to look about diversification and expanding through these sub DAOs, especially, inclusive of YGG Core being a more global entity, there's going to be a lot of instances where the particular game or asset acquisition into a game that's more sense for that regional perspective versus the global perspective is going to occur, right? So there is a lot of back channel communication in between all of us and our sub DAOs on all of these entities alone. And in some cases, we want to make sure that we are not really going overboard on asset acquisition into a particular game. Yes, there are some games that are going to be bigger and a little bit more advanced than others, in which case there might be a scenario where YGG Core and the sub DAOs will all team up and get involved in assets into those games. But most likely, they're going to be very finely curated to the particular region that they're focused on, because of the people and the type of games that are really paired up with that region. So to really kind of summarize the TLDR this question, it's a matter of fact of, yes, there is going to be communication in between all of us. Two, we do have exposure to YGG Core through whatever the games that the sub DAOs are buying these assets in, as well as the fact is, we want to mitigate not being super OP in these particular games and making them a fair environment for all gamers. So it's something that we work on the back end here, behind the curtain in between myself, the asset acquisition team, and the sub-DAO teams, and figuring out what are the best parameters and how to enter a game there.
Quick follow-up question for you, Jeff. So we've been talking about acquisition strategy, but also how the sub-DAOs are working with YGG. So as a follow-up, are you concerned at all that the sub-DAOs could compete for assets in new games? Like, especially since most games, they really only drop a limited number of NFTs at the launch to create scarcity. So do you see any kind of potential issue in terms of YGG competing with sub-DAOs for assets?
Absolutely not, guys. I think, I really want to reiterate the tight communication and relationship that we have with our sub-DAOs. There's a lot of strategic initiatives that go on behind the curtain here and figuring out, is this a game that could be particularly better for the Indian region or the South American region? Is this something that's going to have a much larger global presence or a global go-to-market strategy that we all would want to team up on? I think the cool thing is what makes YGG so special is we don't act as a venture capitalist firm, right? So when we talk to these founders, these studios, and we decide to pick up assets, we're not just writing checks and saying, oh, we need X amount of dollars in assets, and then that's it. We actually strategize with these teams, sit down with them, working on guild structure, quantities, sale prices, etc. So this actually happens on a majority of our portfolio companies that we work with, where we will actually be involved in the actual design process for those quantities, pricing, and strategy into what would be appropriate to get for YGG Core and all the umbrella DAOs or sub DAOs here. So no, absolutely no competition there. The relationships have never been better or stronger. We share a lot of the deal flow, a lot of the feedback on games, and we're very honest with each other. Like I mentioned before, a couple minutes ago, if this makes much more sense for South American players than it does perhaps for Filipino players, then we might lean towards a higher allocation for YGG, for instance. So absolutely no competition whatsoever. If anything, we are just so super strong in working with everybody on strategizing what is the appropriate amount of assets to get, in particular for sub-DAOs or YGG Core in general, and then designing that with the teams to really match and pair that up. It has just been a very, very smooth and fluid process. So, and of course, naturally, like I said, it's it's kind of a good problem to have, not trying to be super OP in these games, right? We don't want to just completely take over a game and muscle it so it just ruins the general economy, perhaps for other new or blossoming guilds to come get involved, or even Web2 guilds, and friends that come in and play these games. So there's a very, very finely tuned balance that is worked on directly between us and the sub-DAOs with some heavy communication there. So there is no worries of competition. There's no worries of a lack of assets or food on the table, I guess you can say, for us in the sub-DAOs. We work on that strategy and really, try and fine tune those numbers to make sure that everybody has enough assets for their particular scholar base in their particular region, and enough that we can all grow the game together.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Love the collaborative attitude as well. So next question, we've got someone who's asking about how they can get more involved with the guild outside of just playing games. Where's a good place to start? They said they've read online about the guild advancement program, which was announced just recently, and they're wondering, is this open to all the members of Discord? Gabby, maybe you can begin first. Give us some background on the guild advancement program for anyone who might be unfamiliar with it. And I think we've got Knight on the call as well, so Knight might jump in after Gabby if he's around to add some more too.
Yeah, we launched the guild advancement program recently so that we can find different ways of rewarding people who are helpful to the YGG community and network. And it's definitely open to all community members. I think probably have to have a guild badge to get started, but there's many different ways that you can help the community, and this is a program that we will be refining and even probably automating and enlarging over time. So we want people to be involved in the initial version, which runs for a few months, and give us feedback so that we can make it better. And yeah, this is a night on our team was the one who mainly worked on this project. So yeah, we'd love to just give more details on that for the people who weren't here when it originally launched.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We certainly
you're good.
can.
Okay, great. Yeah. So ever since YGG was conceived, we've had people jumping in and helping and volunteering with us, creating content, serving various functions. And we also have a mission to emit our token, to our members, to people who are I guess our most ardent supporters and are donating the most time and talent to us. So the Guild Advancement Program is really a way to recognize kind of those large scale contributions and ensure we're putting the tokens in the right hands over time. The advancement part is coming. I don't want to say too much about that today, but ultimately, there's kind of like a progression path with YGG as you spend more time with us and do more. We've hired a number of people from the community. People have moved up into more advanced roles with more responsibilities, and formalizing that process is I guess a key priority for our product and development group over the next quarters and year. And the GAP program is kind of like the cornerstone of the recognizing those contributions, those big picture contributions, and awarding them.
Yeah, and Knight, how does this tie into YGG's vision and broader goals for the guild?
Good question. So if you look at how people relate to YGG, they come for the games, they stay for the community is kind of the idea, and over time, I guess building up that relationship with us, I think we want to formalize that in some way so that you can kind of stake your claim in the metaverse in terms of who you are, what you've done in the past, that you're a trustworthy talented individual. Like we want to bring people, I guess, give people a path to do and express those things in the metaverse, and then I guess get opportunities off of it, both with us and partners and other projects within the metaverse.
Amazing. Excuse me, sorry. Thanks, Knight. That was really helpful. Okay, so we've got another question here. So a little over 6 months ago, YGG members received tokens via the YGG Community airdrop, and community members now have the opportunity to obtain these tokens from quests that they might have completed through the Guild Advancement Program. So now that more and more of YGG's community are receiving these YGG tokens, how can we put them to use? And maybe you could talk a little bit about the token utility, or I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat say when staking. Who would like to take that one? Maybe Gabby or Colin?
I could also jump into support on this too. I just don't want to
go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome. Go ahead, Knight.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, I think we've leaked or talked about it enough in enough other AMAs and things now. Staking is on its way. I think we're going to have some stuff out on that, and then honestly, we're looking at around when and around the end of season 1. So more specifics on that will be forthcoming over the next. See, it's June now, well, roughly June. So next month and a half, 2 months. Longer term, big picture. The YGG tokens are going to be key to advancing within YGG. I mentioned that journey just a few moments ago about forming that closer relationship and getting access to higher level opportunities and activities within YGG, and having YGG tokens is key to that. So without spoiling all of that, I'd recommend holding on to them, or make sure you're to get a hold of them quickly if you find yourself needing them in the future. I think that's all I'm going to say about that today, though. But YGG tokens are key to progressing alongside doing things with us. Those are kind of like the two things you need to really form a closer relationship. You need to be active within the community and have YGG tokens.
Yeah, just to echo what Knight said here, a couple things. So as we go through crypto winter, I think token level innovation and utility is going to be something that really stays top of mind for us, right? It's kind of an opportunity to continue to evolve the project, make the ecosystem more valuable and more useful. And so to that end, we've been ramping up the building of our product team in a big way. And so I think we're bringing in additional layers of leadership, design leadership, people covering kind of the core aspects of the YGG ecosystem. I think maybe as a tease on staking, we do have a project lead for staking who's been working on it now for several months, and hopefully we'll have something to share on that soon.
Thanks, Knight. Thanks, Colin. So just for the purpose of the recording, just wanted to add that Touch has asked, will there be an NFT staking, say for the Founders Coin or maybe YGG/SubDAO NFTs? Al answered it. He said that NFT staking might exist in the future. We do have technology to stake NFTs without losing ownership of the asset, trustlessly, of course. So thanks, Al, for that. So on to the next question. So we've talked a lot about the Guild Advancement Program, and we know that it provides a lot of interesting opportunities for Guild members to get involved. So maybe we can actually look at a different question that someone has asked as a flow-on from this. We're interested to know what kind of partnerships YGG is looking at outside of, say, your traditional play-to-earn. So for example, last year we had an exciting partnership with Genopets. It was announced to introduce a move-to-earn game within the YGG portfolio. And early this month, YGG also announced a partnership with a learn-to-earn platform called Metacrafters. So Gabby, could you just talk a little bit more about the various opportunities in partnerships that YGG is working on? How do you see the guild evolving beyond just play-to-earn gaming?
Yeah, expect us to be active in different kinds of X-to-earn DAOs, whether it's learn to earn, move to earn, create to earn, sing to earn, dance to earn, walk to earn. I don't know. There's a lot of different things that people can do to earn, and we want to be exploring all of these different concepts and see what we can empower that people can do that will give them the ability to earn tokens and NFT ownership. Yeah, I think this is not necessarily just kind of related to video games, but also different kinds of meaningful work that people can do that can give them asset ownership.
Thanks, Gabby. Yeah, looking forward to hearing more of those. I think that's a really exciting way to evolve past some of the new partnerships that are coming on board. So we've got another question here. And by the way, we've only got about 15 minutes left. So guys, if you do have questions, stick them in the AMA discussion channel. So we've got here, given the recent decline in yields due to the cyclical nature of the crypto market, I'm sure if everyone's been in this space for a few years, we'll see that this does happen again and again. But many players are interested in what other games might be on the horizon. So how many other game releases can we expect in this upcoming season? Maybe Jeff or Kazuo could take that one.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate the question: how many games are upcoming, or just to clarify, like how many games are we currently looking at to pick up assets in for the next few quarters?
That's a good point of clarification. I think they're sort of looking to, how many games could we expect to be released or that are in the YGG pipeline that's coming up, say, for Q3, Q4 this year?
Yeah. If Kazuo is here, if he wanted to jump in and just give an answer to that, but I believe it's somewhere around 10 should be upcoming, around 10 to 12 actually. I want to say. So go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we have Oh, you're good. We have a bunch of new games coming up that we're really excited about. Just to name a few, Metalcore, Block Lords, Tatsumiku, Avalon, Dissolution, Phantom Galaxies, My Pet Hooligan. So just around like 10 to 12 coming up, and yeah, plenty of more games that we're looking at acquiring assets in as well. So super exciting stuff.
That's awesome. And guys, if you want to keep up to date on all of the partnerships that YGG is announcing, we always publish that at the YGG Medium. So check back there for latest updates. Okay, so next question. This past March, YGG hosted its first Managers Summit in Metro Manila. What other in-person events can we expect in the coming months? And are they all going to be in Manila, or are they going to be in some other cities? Gabby, maybe you can take that one.
Yeah, so we're starting our series of physical events. We had some small ones late last year that were meet and greets around the Philippines, but we're starting to flex our event muscles with YGG Roadshow starting in June in Baguio City, the Philippines. And then we're gonna follow that up with other areas in the Philippines, probably Cebu, probably Davao, Batangas, some other areas as well. And we want to culminate in a big event next year. The date is still to be determined. But yeah, expect us playing all the different games, having some educational sessions, and yeah, learning more about crypto, Web3, and YGG itself.
Super cool. Okay, we've got one that's following on from an earlier question, just talking about the bear market, if it is indeed upon us. So, Colin, could you talk a little bit about how YGG is restructuring operations in light of the market downturn?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that, Leigh. So I'd really point to two categories that have really been top of mind for the team the past couple months here. Certainly, there's general things like continued financial discipline, just kind of a good strategy about asset acquisition in general. But really operationally, I think that the two areas that we are going to prioritize, or continue to prioritize heavily going into the winter here, that I do think will get us through this crypto winter. One is continued and much higher touch value add to the games that we partner with, right? So YGG really should be seen as a way to make many of our portfolio partners successful, right? Certainly, I think our active community is one of our biggest strengths, but we want to continue to do things like, create streams for our portfolio companies, live streams, esports, other value-added services that can really help us to win and make the games that we partner with successful. And then I'd say the other area that I think is really going to be top of mind for us is kind of continued product and token level innovation, right? So, I think we will have some interesting announcements in the coming, couple of months here about new product lines, new members of the product team generally, and I think that's going to become, a much higher priority and something that we hope to have a lot more visibility, give the community a lot more visibility on going forward. So yeah, just development, and then kind of better support for some of the games that we continue to ramp up support for some of the games that we've invested in and want to make successful.
Nice, thanks, Colin. We've got another one here that was answered in the chat, but again, just for the purpose of the recording, I will read it out. So the question was from Day: if you had to hypothetically collaborate with external entities, be it DAOs or companies, to buy their services, would you rather pay with equity, that is, they mean YGG, or USDC? And what category of the treasury would that fall under? So Al has answered in chat. He said, if it's buying a service, USDC always makes most sense. If it's getting involved in a product they are building, however, YGG tokens would make more sense. That would be more sensible. So thanks, Al, for that. Okay, cool. We are nearly at time, guys. So if you do have any burning questions, make sure you put them in the chat ASAP. But we've got one final question here. So when the community hears about different games, and not all of them are available to play via YGG scholarships, at least not yet. So where can the community raise games or like ideas for games that they are interested in? Where's the best place to do that?
I guess I can take this. I would say that this is one of the most organic things. Usually if a game is good, we will all eventually hear about it. And then it just becomes a scaling problem that we need to solve. And at first it'll be at small scale, having 10, 20, 50, 100 players. And once we see that there's potential to have more or different mechanics within the game that allows for an easier scaling, then we start to put in more resources from the teams, more automation, and try to find ways to make the experience seamless for everyone. Axie was the best example. Cyball's picking up Steam right now, even a bit different. But usually it is, I want to call it a case-by-case basis because there's not any standard yet in how games are being done. We're talking with a lot of games and different projects that help guilds, And we try as much as we can to say this is how we envision guilds being working with Web3 games or games with blockchain. And usually it involves using a system where delegation of assets is literally embedded or native into the game. If this becomes a standard, then literally guilds become plug and play, and this is how it scales easier. But it's a work in progress, and it's way better than last year already. But yeah, as I said, it's a lot of trying to push something new and trying to get in hold of early studios and games to tell them this is how it would be amazing for everyone.
Okay, thanks guys. Look, we're nearly at time, so I think I might hand over to Gabby to close. And I also just wanted to ask Gabby, I know that we haven't really had any direct questions in the chat yet, but as we know, there is an ongoing situation with merit circles. So in closing, perhaps you could just address that quickly, Gabby, and then we'll wrap up just before the hour. Over to you, Gabby.
Sure. So first of all, I think it's a very unfortunate situation with what's happening with Merit Circle. Merit Circle approached us to invest when they were doing the seed round, and we've helped them in many ways to kind of get the guild off the ground. So having their community feel that we have not provided enough to them is kind of both surprising and a little bit hurtful as well. And there is nothing in the agreement that we have for them that requires a certain level of help, although I think we've provided more than enough. So now we're trying to address this issue with the Merit Circle founders. We've created a post on our Medium and on the forums that has listed exactly how we've been helping Merit Circle ever since they got off the ground. And yeah, I think this is going to be kind of one of those kind of landmark situations in the cryptosphere that gets to ask, like, what is the bearing of DAO governance in regards to legally signed agreements? I think we're going to see what would happen to that soon. But for everyone here, we would just want to ask for your support. Tweeting out your support for YGG in this situation is something that will be very much appreciated. And yeah, we want the whole world to know that YGG itself is a very helpful community, not only to games and other guilds, but also its community members as well. So if YGG has touched your lives in any way, yeah, please post about it, and we'd want to retweet it and just hear your voice.
That's lovely. Thank you, Gabby. And I just want to call out, Al has reminded us here too that he is saying it's okay to have opinions, it's okay to be polarized, but let's never hate on any other community. YGG has always been of a collaborative spirit, and I don't think that the current situation with Merit Circle changes that at all. So again, thanks to everyone for your support. Really appreciate the AMA today. Some great questions. And we're just on the hour, so we're wrapping up now. But thanks to all our speakers, and we'll see you again when our next quarterly update comes out for Q2 2022. Thanks, everybody.